The girl who kept her head down. The cafeteria on Orbital Station Delta 12 was loud with metal trays and alien voices. Workers from different species came here between shifts: engineers, mechanics, pilots, and cleaners. Among them moved a quiet girl with glowing blue skin and long silver-white hair. She wore a gray uniform with no name tag. Her eyes never met anyone's. Most just called her the Blue One. No one asked where she came from. No one cared. Not until Ryan Hale walked in. The human who noticed Ryan was a human tech officer, recently assigned to the station after a classified mission. He wasn't rich, not powerful, but he was observant. That day, as he picked up his food tray, he saw her. She was serving steamed ration blocks and alien stew. But her hands shook slightly. Her fingers were too clean. Her posture, too graceful. Weird, he muttered. The station had hundreds of aliens, but something about her didn't fit. He watched as she bowed her head and whispered something to a Zarkar officer. The officer barked at her, but she didn't respond. She simply stepped back and continued her work. A mistake that started everything. Later that night, the kitchen lost power. Ryan was called to fix the sensor grid in subsection 8. That's where he saw her again, alone, sitting beside the backup coolant unit, wrapped in a thin gray blanket, her hair damp with sweat. But when he stepped closer, he saw something shining from her neck, a thin golden chain with a symbol. He knew that symbol. His last mission involved protecting cargo from the Thaliri Royal Fleet. That exact symbol belonged to the lost house of Thaliri, a royal house that was rumored to be wiped out 2 years ago. "What the hell?" Ryan whispered. The girl gasped and quickly tucked the necklace back inside her uniform. "You saw it," she said softly. Her voice was sharp now, clear, not like a servant's. Ryan nodded slowly. "You're not just a worker, are you?" She stood, her back straightened. Her expression changed. "I need you to forget what you saw," she said coldly. "You're a royal," she didn't answer, but the look in her eyes said everything. "The offer. If anyone finds out I'm here, I'm dead," she said. "And if they think you know, you're dead too." Ryan crossed his arms. "Then why not leave? Go back to your people?" She looked away. "I can't. My people betrayed me, my crown is gone, my name is poison." A silence fell. Then she stepped closer. Very close. "So I'm offering you a trade," she whispered. "You keep my secret and I give you something no one else can." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "What kind of trade?" She leaned in. "I'll warm your bed, every night, no questions, no names." The hook. Ryan blinked, stunned. This wasn't a plea, it was a strategy. "You're serious? You want payment for silence? I offer what I have." He looked at her, not just her beauty but her fear, her pride, her desperation to stay hidden, and something told him. This was only the beginning, because if the royal blood in her was real, then someone somewhere was already looking for her, and Ryan Hale had just been pulled into something much bigger than he ever imagined. The deal. Ryan Hale couldn't sleep. He sat on the edge of his bunk, staring at the ceiling fan humming above him. Her words kept repeating in his head. "You keep my secret. I'll warm your bed." It wasn't just the offer, it was how she said it, calm, direct, like a contract. She wasn't flirting, she wasn't begging, she was surviving. Knock on the door. A soft knock came at 02:12 station time. Ryan reached for the door panel and opened it. There she was, silver white hair down, wrapped in a blanket over her gray uniform. Still quiet, still watching him carefully. "May I enter?" she asked. He stepped aside without a word. A quiet night. She didn't speak for several minutes. She just sat on the chair across from him, fingers locked in her lap, eyes scanning his room. Small, plain, standard military quarters. "You didn't report me," she finally said. "No," Ryan replied. "Why?" "Because something tells me you're not the villain here." She looked at him surprised. Most people would turn me in for credits. I'm not most people. A soft pause. Then, she stood and approached him. Then let's make the deal official. She moved to remove her blanket, but Ryan stopped her gently. You don't need to do that, he said. But that's what I offered. I'm not buying you. I'm protecting you. For the first time, her lips trembled. Why? Because I think someone already stole everything from you, and I won't be the next. A real name. She sat back down, slowly, then whispered. My name is Thesera Veltarin, former heir of House Terran. Officially, I died 2 years ago. Ryan stayed, quiet. They killed my family and then blamed me. Who's they? He asked. The High Council of Thaleri. They wanted control, so they made me disappear. And now? Now I'm hiding, serving food to people who think I'm just another alien. Ryan looked at her and spoke gently. You're not alone anymore. Watching eyes. What Ryan didn't know was this. Small surveillance drone had hovered outside his quarters. It captured the sound of her name, Thesera Veltarin. And deep within Thaleri territory, on a cold metal bridge, a military commander saw the alert. Impossible, he whispered. Target Thesera detected alive. He turned to his crew. Send extraction. Dead or alive. Royal blood is dangerous. For the first time in a long time, Thesera Veltarin slept without fear. Not because she felt safe, but because the human, Ryan Hale, had not turned her in. In the dim light of morning, she sat at the corner of his room, brushing her silver-white hair with slow hands. Ryan brewed cheap station coffee. Sleep okay? He asked. Strange, but not bad, she replied. There was quiet peace between them, but both knew it wouldn't last. A dangerous visit later that day, 2 Thaleri enforcers entered the cafeteria. Dressed in black body armor, they claimed to be inspecting food safety. But Ryan knew better. He watched from a distance. They weren't looking at food. They were watching faces. One of them paused, sniffing the air. Thesera stood frozen, gripping a serving tray. Her eyes flicked up, just once, before returning. To her task, Ryan clenched his fists. He had to think fast. A distraction. Plan, he grabbed a tray and walked straight toward her line. Sorry, officer, he said loudly. The soup gave me stomach worms last time. The enforcer turned to him. You doubt our standards? I doubt this station's cook, Ryan joked. The enforcers grunted and moved along, but Ryan leaned in and whispered, They're here for you. Thesera nodded once. I have a backup route. Then I'll cover your shift. Go. A hidden passage, Thesera moved quietly to the back storage room. Inside a floor panel was a hidden duct, an old escape tunnel used for emergency evacuations. She slid inside, heart pounding. For now, she was safe. But she knew that wouldn't last. The signal back in Ryan's quarters. A blinking red light appeared on his comm panel. A private message from an anonymous source. You are harboring a royal fugitive. Turn her in, and you'll be rewarded. Refuse, and you'll die with her. Ryan stared at the screen. He didn't respond. Instead, he whispered, You messed with the wrong human. The escape plan. Ryan Hale paced inside his room, jaw tight, fists clenched. He replayed the message again. Harbor her and die. Turn her in and be rewarded. The station was no longer safe. Not for Thesera, not for him. In the vents, Thesera stayed hidden in the old duct system beneath the kitchens. Cold metal pressed against her skin as she crawled through the narrow tunnels. She had memorized the station's old blueprints long ago. Escape was possible, but only with help. Her only hope now was Ryan. A quiet meeting late that night. Ryan opened the vent near his room. She crawled out slowly, tired and dusty. How long do we have? She asked. 2 days, maybe less. They're watching me now, too. Then we need a ship. Already working on it. He showed her a stolen access card. Cargo hauler leaves in 36 hours. Small crew. Easy to sneak aboard. Thesera stared at him. Why are you helping me this much? Because I know what it's like to be betrayed by your own people. Trouble grows. In the command deck, the enforcers reviewed new footage. Ryan, helping her escape the cafeteria. The lead officer growled, the human has bonded with her. Then they both die. They alerted the station chief. Red alert level 3. The fake Fight Ryan had one more idea. To make the station believe he'd broken ties with Thesera, they staged a loud argument near the cargo bay. I risked everything for you, he shouted. I never asked for your help, she replied, eyes full of fake anger. Next time, find someone else to die for you. He stormed off. A security bot recorded the whole thing, just as planned. Her first smile back in the vents, they laughed quietly. You're not bad at acting, Thesera whispered. You're not bad at trusting. She looked at him for a long moment. Her eyes softened. Then she smiled, the first real smile he'd seen from her. And for a moment, the war, the danger, and the blood on both their hands felt far away. The betrayal, the plan was almost ready. The cargo ship would depart in just a few hours. Ryan had forged clearance codes. Thesera had memorized the route. Everything seemed to be going smoothly. Too smoothly. The leak Ryan didn't notice the small, blinking sensor hidden under his bunk. It wasn't there yesterday, someone had placed it, and someone was listening. The friend Ryan's closest teammate, Jax Corrin, sat in the control room, staring at a holographic message. You'll get 50,000 credits, just ping his location. Jax sighed. Ryan was a good guy, but credits were credits. He tapped a key and forwarded the signal. Ryan's quarters, level 4, section C, an ambush later. That evening, Ryan met Thesera in the storage corridor. Ready? He asked. Yes, but I have a strange feeling. Before she could finish, the ceiling exploded with sound. Thaliri enforcers dropped from the vents. Energy weapons pointed. Red lasers locked onto their bodies. Thesera Velteran, surrender. Ryan Hale, you're under arrest for treason. Ryan stood in front of her without thinking. She's not going with you. Move or die. He didn't move. The explosion. Suddenly, a shockwave shook the floor. Smoke burst through the hallway, a timed EMP bomb from Ryan's backpack. Lights flickered, weapons jammed. The enforcers shouted in confusion. Ryan grabbed Thesera's hand and ran. They ducked through emergency tunnels as alarms screamed around them. Safe for now, they finally collapsed behind a sealed hatch, both out of breath. Someone sold us out, Ryan growled. You think it was your teammate? It was Jax, has to be. Thesera's eyes turned cold. Then we don't run. Ryan blinked. What? We fight. The royal fury Ryan Hale always believed Thesera was hiding from danger. He never imagined she was once a danger herself. The hidden room, inside a forgotten chamber deep in the station's lower decks, Thesera stood silently. The room was old. Dust-covered walls, flickering lights, abandoned since the last war. What is this place? Ryan asked. A backup control chamber, only my family knew of it, and now you. She knelt before a metal console and placed her palm against a faint, glowing sigil. The console lit up blue. Still responds to royal blood, she said coldly. The plan to strike back Thesera pulled up the station's maps. We don't run anymore. We disable their weapons, then steal the ship. You want to go through them? Ryan asked. Yes, I've been hunted for too long. Time to remind them who I am. Ryan saw her differently now. Not just a scared refugee, but a survivor with power. A fighter. A princess. And something more. Unleashed. Power. With the control console active, Thesera accessed hidden systems. Old defense bots, secret doors, and coded escape routes, all left behind by the royal house before its fall. "We'll draw them into the main cargo bay," she said. Then I locked the doors. "And we trap them inside?" "No," she said, her voice sharp. "We bury them." The moment of truth, Ryan reached out and gently took her hand. "You don't have to do this alone. But I've always been alone. Not anymore." She looked up. For a moment, the fury in her eyes softened. "Then stand with me, human. To the end." The trap, the cargo bay lights flickered as footsteps echoed across the floor. Thaliri enforcers, nearly a dozen strong, moved in carefully, blasters raised, scanning. Every shadow. They had received another tip from an anonymous source. What they didn't know, that tip came from Thessara, bait in the dark. Thessara stood in the open, her silver-white hair glowing under the bay lights. Calm, waiting. "She's unarmed," one of the officers shouted. "Surround her." They closed in fast. That's when Ryan hit the panel from the shadows above. Metal doors slammed shut, locking them inside. "Now," he shouted. "Justice of a fallen princess." Thessara raised her hand. Old defense systems, coded only to respond to royal bloodlines, woke from their sleep. Walls opened. Turrets unfolded. Blue energy lit up like lightning. Before the enforcers could react, a pulse cannon fired. 1, 2, 3. Screams filled the air. "You killed my family," Thessara said coldly. "Now feel what justice sounds like." Escape. While the chaos continued, Ryan and Thessara rushed to the hangar controls. He hacked into the launch system. She rewired the access gate. Together, they forced open the final airlock. The stolen ship hummed to life. "Ready?" he asked. "Let's go." They took off as the cargo bay burned behind them. The messages the ship crossed into deep space. Thessara sent a final encrypted broadcast. "Thessara Velterran lives, and I'm coming back." Across the Thaliri Empire, nobles sat up in fear. A ghost had returned. A new beginning. Inside the ship, Ryan looked at her. "What now, princess?" She smiled softly. "Now, we rebuild. Together." He nodded. No longer strangers. No longer alone. Just a human and an alien royal. Running from the past. Flying into the future. Together. The queen in the shadows, from he found out she was royalty in disguise. What she did to silence him shocked everyone. HFY, Sci-Fi. A safe distance. The stolen ship drifted silently through the edges of an asteroid. Thessara stood by the viewing window, gazing at the stars. She was no longer just a fugitive, she was a queen without a throne. Ryan worked at the console nearby, calibrating their route. "We're clear for now," he said. "No trackers." "They'll come," she replied. "They always do." Whispers of return. The coded message Thessara sent had already reached sympathizers across the stars. Among scattered rebel groups, an old name rose again. Velterran. One message came through the ship's relay. "My queen, you live. We await your orders." Thessara stared at it for a long moment. "I'm not ready to rule," she whispered. Ryan overheard. "Then start with surviving. We'll figure out the rest later." Old enemies, new warnings. Elsewhere in the core worlds, the ruling Grand Council panicked. News of Thessara's survival spread quickly. Her name had been erased from all records. One counselor slammed the table. "She must not return." "She has allies," another warned. "The people remember her." "Then we make the human her weakness." A soft moment. That night, Ryan found Thessara asleep in the cockpit. He placed a blanket over her shoulders. She stirred. "I'm not weak anymore," she murmured. "I know," he said gently. "But it's okay to rest." For the first time, since her escape, she allowed herself to sleep without fear. But outside their small ship, the stars watched, and war was coming again. Crown of Fire. The call to war messages flooded in from rebel groups, hidden fleets, and broken noble houses. They all asked one thing. Will you return Thesara Velterran? She stood before the holoscreen, silent. Behind her, Ryan waited. You don't have to do this, he said. But if I don't, they'll keep hunting, killing, controlling. She turned. Her eyes glowed with purpose. This is bigger than me now. Preparing for battle, Thesara and Ryan docked at a hidden rebel station orbiting a dead moon. Inside, the last loyal engineers worked day and night. A ship, the Flame Crown, her family's last battleship, was nearly ready. Thesara stepped aboard. She hadn't been on that deck since she was a child. It still remembers you, an old rebel whispered. She nodded. Then we fly. The final broadcast as the fleet assembled, Thesara sent one last transmission across the stars. To the Thaleri Empire. You took my name, you hunted my blood, you buried my people. Now I rise, and I do not rise alone. Ryan stood beside her, armored now, not as a servant or ally, but as her chosen defender. Fire in the sky, the battle was short and brutal. Thesara led the charge from the bridge of the Flame Crown. Ryan fought beside her, turning the tide as the people of the stars rose up behind them. The tyrants fell, the council burned. A new throne weeks later, Thesara stood in the ancient temple of her ancestors. Wounded, tired, but victorious. A crown was brought to her. You are Queen Velterran now. She looked to Ryan. I don't want to rule alone. He smiled. Then don't. Epilogue. Peace. Finally, years passed. The war became a lesson, the pain a scar. But Thesara's reign brought peace, and every statue, every legend, every child's story began with the same tale. The queen who was saved by a human and saved the stars in return.